Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. I welcome you all to a daily quiz video for today. Also, I really hope that by now every one of you is a part of the Telegram channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS, where you get all the latest current affairs updates about the UPSC examination, daily practice quizzes, and daily reminders of the live sessions that go on our YouTube channel. If you have still not joined the Telegram channel, you can use the link given in the description of the video, click on that, and you will join the channel automatically. Now let's begin with the very first question on your screen. Consider the following statements with regards to the Supreme Court of India. Number 1. While the Chief Justice of India is the judicial head of the Supreme Court, the President of India plays the role of the administrative head of the court. Second, the President of India exercises the prerogative of allocating cases to particular benches. And third, the Chief Justice decides the number of judges that will hear a particular case. How many of these given statements is or are correct? Now, if you look at this carefully, first and the second, both these statements are wrong. The reason being that the Chief Justice of India is the judicial and the administrative head of the court as well. Thus, as the administrative head of the court, he actually reserves the right to decide which case will be allocated to which particular bench. Also, which bench will have how many judges, that is also decided by the Chief Justice of India only. So, only one statement is correct. The answer has to be A. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the new Chief Justice of India, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, said that every bench of the Supreme Court will take up 10 transfer petitions and 10 bail applications every single day. He recently told the lawyers that about 3,000 transfer petitions have been pending and he wants to resolve them as soon as possible. And this is the step that he has taken as the administrative head of the court. Second question. Consider the following statements with regards to a nuclear non-proliferation treaty, also called as the NPT. Number 1. The treaty represents the only binding commitment in a multilateral treaty to the goal of disarmament by the nuclear weapon states. Second, safeguards are used to verify compliance with the treaty through inspections conducted by the IAEA, that is the International Atomic Energy Agency. Third, more countries have ratified the NPT than other arm limitations and disarmament agreement. Which of these given statements is or are correct? All these given statements about the NPT, that is a nuclear non-proliferation treaty, are correct. As you know, most of the nations around the world, including the P5 nations, have ratified the treaty. However, nations such as India, Israel, Pakistan are still not a part of this, and that is why this treaty till date has not come into being. Those nations that have accepted this actually have accepted the binding commitment that the treaty puts on them. This is one of those treaties which has been supported by the most member countries across the entire world. India does not really relate to this because India thinks that this is a biased treaty. As per this treaty, any nation that legally acquired nuclear weapons before 1967 were allowed to keep it, that is the P5 nations, while the nations that actually got the nuclear weapons after 1967 had to surrender them. This cutoff included China as well, while India was supposed to surrender all its nuclear weapons. That is why we do not find the treaty as being unbiased in the international era. The reason why we're discussing this question is because in today's Indian Express newspaper, there's an article in the editorial written by Mr. Manishankar Aiyar, a senior Congress leader, where he's telling how can we actually lead into a world without the nuclear weapons. He says that India must actually play the leadership role in pushing the world towards achieving non-nuclear status. He says that in the past, Indian governments, including the government under Rajiv Gandhi, have actually tried to bring these kind of proposals at the world stage. The world now needs India to again go forward and take this kind of leadership if we have to get rid of the nuclear weapon era right now. Next, question number 3. Consider the following statements with regards to a 2022 FIFA World Cup. Number 1. This is the first football World Cup to be hosted in Asia. Second, FIFA has suspended Russia from international competitions until further notice, including its participation in the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Third, the tournament's official mascot is named Al Rihla, which is an Arabic word meaning super skilled player. How many of these given statements is or are correct? Now, it's a tricky question, especially because you don't expect a lot of questions from sports. But in the past few years, there have been a couple of questions from sports also asked by the UPSC. Since this is the biggest sporting extravaganza in the entire world, we must know certain details about this. The first statement is wrong because South Korea and Japan together have actually hosted a football World Cup earlier. So the first statement is wrong. This is the second time that an Asian country is hosting the football World Cup. Second is correct. FIFA recently suspended Russia from all international competitions, including the FIFA 2022 World Cup. The third statement also is wrong. Al Rihla is actually the official name of the football that will be used in the World Cup. It has been provided by Adidas company. However, the official mascot is actually named as Laib. So Laib is the name of the official mascot, which is an Arabic word for super skilled player. While on the other hand, Al Rihla is the name of the official football that will be used. So out of the three given statements, only the second one is correct. So the answer would be B. Only one statement is correct. We have asked this question because of multiple articles in the Indian newspapers today regarding the Football World Cup that starts tomorrow. As you know, there have been a lot of allegations of corruption and many other things with respect to Qatar getting the right to host the event. The reason being that Qatar does not really have a great football culture. Also, the weather in Qatar is pretty hot and it is not really suitable for the players. That is why the World Cup, which is usually played in the months of May, June, has been delayed to be played in the end of the month so that the weather becomes slightly cooler at least. Next, question number 4. Which of the following organizations publishes the State of the Economy report? The Reserve Bank of India, the Niti Aayog, FICCI, or the Finance Ministry? The correct answer here is A. The Reserve Bank of India comes up with the State of the Economy report in which it actually makes predictions about India's GDP growth. The State of the Economy report has come out now and it says that the Indian GDP is expected to grow at 6.1 to 6.3% in the quarter 2 on supply strength seen in the entire country. The second quarter is from July to September. The official numbers will come out on November 30th. As you know, in the first quarter, it is April to July, the economy grew at 13.5%. As you can understand, this big growth was at the back of the relative slowdown that we saw during the pandemic when India actually had a negative growth rate. Just last week, the governor of the RBI had also said that India's economy will grow at about 7% in the current year if you look at the entire year overall, which is due to the strong macroeconomic fundamentals in the country and a very stable financial sector. Also, the urban demands appears to be increasing while the rural demand is right now muted, but it is expected to pick up in the coming months or so. Next is the previous year question from 2020. The preamble to the Constitution of India is a part of the Constitution but without legal effect, not a part of the Constitution and no legal effect, part of the Constitution and the same legal effect, or a part of Constitution with no legal effect independently of other parts. Now, as you know, the preamble of the Indian Constitution has always been a matter of great discussion and debate, both in the civil society and inside the Supreme Court as well. There have been multiple judgments given by the Supreme Court with respect to the status of the preamble. If you take all those judgments together, you will understand the correct answer here is D. It is a part of the Indian Constitution as clarified by the Supreme Court in the Keshwanda Bharti case. However, it does not have any legal effect, meaning that it cannot be enforced through an order of the Supreme Court. So you cannot come to the Supreme Court saying that the government is not following the preamble or the government of India is actually going against what is written in the preamble. Because preamble is just a source of information for us to understand the minds of the constitution makers. These are the important judgments with respect to the preamble that have been given earlier as well. In the A.K. Gopalan case of 1950, Supreme Court said preamble is not enforceable in a court of law. Then the Barubari case of 1960, where Supreme Court said preamble is not a part of the constitution, but it helps to interpret the constitution. Then in Keshwanda Bharti case, Supreme Court went back on the first part and said no. Preamble is a part of the constitution and helps us to interpret and read the minds of the constitution makers. So the correct answer is it is a part of the constitution but without any legal entity as such. Next we have the fact of the day, and today we want to discuss about North Korea's ICBMs. ICBMs stand for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. Now, as always, as it happens every few months, North Korea is again in the news with respect to its missiles. North Korea's ICBM, which has a range to strike the entire United Nations, has landed near the Japanese water. Now, this is not the first time that North Korea has conducted some tests like these. They usually do it to actually attract the world's attention towards them. As you know, North Korea is a rogue nuclear power that the entire world is worried about. They have recently tested their weapons to advance their nuclear arsenal as well. This comes in at a time when there was a joint Air Force drill in South Korea, including South Korea and the American fighter jets, and it is being seen as a response to that. Now, according to the South Korean and Japanese government estimates, the missile flew 6,000 to 6,100 kilometers at a maximum altitude of about 1,000 kilometers. The interesting part is that the missiles that North Korea has, some of them actually have a maximum range exceeding 15,000 kilometers as well, which is a cause of concern for the entire country. North Korea has two other ICBMs, and their test in 2017 showed that they can actually reach all parts of the US as well. Now, usually the definition of ICBMs are those missiles that have a minimum range of 5,500 kilometer or more. They are primarily designed to carry nuclear weapons. Now, there are only a handful of countries in the entire world that have this technology. India is also one of them, with our Agni missiles having such a range. Then we have Russia, US, North Korea, China, Israel, and the United Kingdom, along with France. North Korea conducted its first such test, as I said, in 2017. That was called the Hwasong 14, which is considered as an ICBM. This is it for today's daily quiz video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.